I'm Dr. Ray Middleton. I help people by delivering great training. Here's an example episode from one of my training courses explaining the Power Threat Meaning Framework. I'm a member of the Power Threat Meaning Framework Committee, and these materials were developed in conjunction with the committee. After we've answered the Power Threat Meaning Framework questions, which I explain in the other episodes of this course, we're asking, what is the story that knits this all together? What is this personal narrative? Deciding which experiences are significant or valuable to us and which to leave out as unimportant or not valuable is a normal process of editing our experiences that go on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, into a life story. So we focus on and choose some experiences to turn into a story. We may edit something in or out for different reasons. We think it might be significant, or we might think that's irrelevant, boring or embarrassing, and we'll leave it out. So depending on who we anticipate the audience to be, we edit in and edit out experiences of our everyday, ordinary lived life into a story, to fold it into a story or narrative with a plot that has a go-ahead goal that's interesting and understandable to ourselves and to other people. If we anticipate our listener might judge and evaluate what we say negatively, we might edit those bits out, and we may put things in that we anticipate we will be evaluated positively by the listener. So the other person is always present as we start to form a story that we want to tell them, because we're aware, we're anticipating in what we say how they might judge us. This is a normal experience for human beings. This is the best way to understand narrative, because we human beings live our lives in narratives, but it's hard to understand sometimes. The best way is to think about our minute by minute, ongoing, everyday experiences of life need to be changed, shortened into a story with characters and a plot in order to make sense of it, in order to explain this experience and understand it. And this involves editing some bits out and some bits in, shortening things to organise our experiences into stories with plots and characters in them. As human beings, we're physical, embodied beings, so we experience and express distress through our physical bodies, but this does not mean we need to reduce all causal explanations of distress to starting in our body. Something outside of ourselves, in our culture, society, other people, in our social context, can cause us harm and distress, for example, which we then experience in our body as hormones are released, like adrenaline if we feel angry, or cortisol, or we might feel anxious about our external social world, something happening, and it's having a physical bodily effect because we're embodied people. We might then try to make sense of this physical embodied experience of maybe feeling tense or angry by drawing on popular sets of ideas and stories currently available and circulating in our culture, to think, well, why do I feel angry or anxious, for example? We draw on the external stories around us. As we go on our journey through life, we make use of those stories that are already available to us in our culture. We navigate life through narratives. Some of these narratives are helpful, and some are unhelpful stories that we can get stuck in for months, years, or decades. Personally, I was stuck in some very unhelpful narratives for around 20 years of my life before I found a better, believable narrative to reorientate and navigate my life within. Two of the narratives I got stuck in were seeing myself as mentally disordered with several diagnoses. I was stuck in the mental health psychiatric system for years of my life, and I got about 7 different diagnoses. So I saw myself in that narrative of having a mental disorder and believing those diagnoses about myself. And the other story I got stuck in was seeing myself as a drug addict and an alcoholic, because I did use drugs and alcohol to repetitive excess, but I got stuck in a negative narrative that I was a hopeless addict, a drug addict, I suppose. For a number of years I got stuck in that story as well. But it's possible to escape an unhelpful narrative, and I did, by finding new, better, believable narratives to be transformed within. Developing and creating a new narrative is hard and it takes time. It was about 25 years ago I started doing this. And the help of other people is really essential. We can't do it on our own, I don't believe. But healing and hope can grow within a good, new, believable, personal story with a good go-ahead plot. I hope you found that helpful. For more information about the live and recorded training I offer, just email me at ray.middleton@ladderforlife.com and sign up for my free trauma informed course by clicking the link in the description comments. Subscribe for more helpful videos and post a question in the comments and I'll reply.